Welcome to the NST Focus Podcast. I'm your host, Ken Kane. We started last time with a history of the Northwest Senior Theater. This time we're going to get a little bit more up close and personal with a cast member, Jan Rosenthal. Jan, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How long have you been with NST?
It will be 13 years.
And what's changed for you as a performer over that time?
Besides health issues?
Getting older, yes, I know. We are a senior theater, that's for sure.
When I joined, the group was much larger. Unfortunately, the pandemic kind of, decimated the group. But for me, the minute I finished teaching, I signed up. I had done a play with one of the members at a different venue, and that was the first I'd heard of NST. And I came and tried out, and it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me in retiring.
Why do you say that?
Because it meant getting up, getting cleaned up, getting dressed, getting out of the house, and walking into family and instant friends, and not just singing. I had sung in choirs all over the city, while I was married and, raising kids. But this was the chance to be old and perform. And that has made such a difference. I'm smiling already. I wake up for these rehearsals like at 8:15 in the morning. For a night owl, that's like...
Tell me about it, yeah.
Okay?
Exactly.
I'm lucky if I get to sleep before I have to wake up. But the minute I'm here, it's like nothing else exists. Your pains, your kids, your troubles, the plumber needs to be called, that all disappears.
Let's go back in time. You are our resident Canadian member. Tell us about growing up in Winnipeg, right?
Winnipeg was a fabulous city for the arts. Freezing weather, but tons of theater and music. It was very different from when I first moved here. The only theater that I was aware of was Civic. Mm-hmm. I did my first show there, and it was a wasteland. There was nothing here. But leaving Winnipeg, there was so much theater. So here I am in a music program in a really good district. In fact, the supervisor of music turned out to be the orchestra leader when I did summer stock.
Oh my goodness.
Years later. So 12 years of performing at music festival, mm-hmm. and then you could still perform once you were out of high school. Uh-huh. And then there was interfaith harmony, and there were independent shows that were put on, and I was offered singing lessons. We didn't have a lot of money, and there wasn't a whole... My parents were dancers, they weren't singers, so there was lots of music in the house, but when I was singing, my brother would be in the other room yelling, "Shut up!"
Well, was there ever a time you weren't performing?
I started, my first radio show was when I was 9. And I still remember the song.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, but I remember it was Sweet Lass of Richmond Hill. And it was sponsored, the program was sponsored by Eaton's, which would be the equivalent of like a Meyer and Frank or whatever.
Big department store.
And they had a Saturday morning show that you could try out for. And then I belonged to the Y. And so I think I was 10 when I did my first show there. I was sneezy in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And then in school, we were putting on, from 7th grade on, Gilbert and Sullivan. It's fun to go back. I sang with another guy, and we sang together for about 10 years. And as a duet, he played guitar, we sang. We got to do a lot of television. There was an opportunity for people of different ethnic groups to apply for a television show that was going to air before Queen Elizabeth. She was visiting Canada for our centennial. And Brian and I were accepted. So we got to we started off, we had 3 days at Expo. We sang there in Montreal.
Right.
And then we went to Ottawa to do this program.
How old are you at this point?
Maybe 20.
Okay.
We went away for 10 days and stayed away 10 weeks. We got to sing with Percy Faith and his orchestra at the Canadian National Exhibition, which was this huge thing. And then we got offered a weekend of performing and teaching at something, we didn't know what it was, called Mariposa, the Mariposa Folk Festival.
Oh, wow.
So there we are, performing with and eating with and teaching with Leonard Cohen, Buffy St. Marie, Joni Mitchell, right off the farm with yellow pigtails, and us.
Let me get you to the United States. When did you move here?
I came here in '73. I came to visit a cousin who lived here because I was going back to Australia with 2 friends because Canadian teachers could teach there without paying taxes. And so I came here for a cheap winter, visit.
Yeah.
I never did get
And
to,
you never got to
Australia. They came to me, but I married someone from here.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to give up my citizenship.
You've been in the Portland area all that time or not? Okay. And you've been part of the performing arts scene that whole time?
Yes.
So what are some of your favorite roles and shows?
I'm laughing because I'm so blessed. For years I went and auditioned for Summer Stock, and I was told, beautiful voice, wonderful audition, come back when you get taller. You remember those days when the chorus was all 5'6", 5'10", like the Rockettes? And then I discovered comedy, and I discovered those roles are far more memorable to people. So I did Golda, and it turned out by the time I auditioned and the show started, I was pregnant. So by the time the show ended, it ended in January because it held over, and my daughter was born February 4th. I mean, 4 days.
Wow.
When everybody danced on the stage, the baby would dance in my stomach. It was wonderful.
You're Canadian, so maybe no one better than you can say you've pulled off the Fiddler on the Roof hat trick. Tell us about it.
I've played Seidel, Golda, Yenta. And I figure when I'm dead, I'm coming back as Fruma Sarah and Gromit Seidel.
Oh my goodness. Well, that'll cover all the bases.
There you go. So that's a favorite. I've done probably 80 plays and musicals.
Wow.
More than half of them in Portland. Musical company, theater in the Grove, Hart Theater, Civic Theater, light opera.
Right, and NST.
NST.
Tell us what you're doing in the show that's coming up in May.
In the show that's coming in May, I'm part of a quartet doing Sincerely. And I'm doing I'll Be Seeing You. And I always want to say Moon River, Blue Moon.
Right.
And that's plenty for me. Plus all the chorus stuff.
Well, I hope that you'll be seeing Jan in May. Our show, called Battle of the Bandstands, runs from May 7th to May 10th. It's at 2 o'clock each day at Rise Church in Tigard. And it won't be long before tickets are on sale. We hope that you'll go, and that, for that matter, you'll go to our Facebook group, NST and Friends, and also our northwestseniortheater.org, NW, Senior Theater with the RE, .org, and you can find out more about our troupe and the show that's coming up. Jan, thanks so much for being here today.
You're welcome.